We live in a fast-paced and hectic world where it's easy to feel overwhelmed, stressed, and out of control. How do you manage all the competing pressures without losing sense of yourself? How do you stay focused enough to not only plot a path, but follow it? Welcome to Recovery Road, a show that offers inspiration, insight, and intelligence, as well as success stories from many walks of life that can show you how you can control your own destiny. Our knowledgeable and entertaining hosts and their guests give practical advice that you can use every day on your road to recovery. Now, here are your hosts, Leaha Mattinson and Greg Bird.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's show from wherever it is that you are on this beautiful planet tuning in today. It's my absolute pleasure to introduce to the stage once again, Marisa Peer. Now, Marissa Peer is the creator of multiple award-winning RTT program and founder of 𝑖𝑚Enough.com, international best-selling author, a motivational speaker, personal development expert, and leading celebrity therapist. She has over 3 decades of experience as a therapist and has been named Best British Therapist by Men's Health magazine and featured in Tatler's Guide to Britain's 250 Best Doctors. Marissa uses her experience of treating clients, including rock stars, CEOs, elite Olympic athletes, royalty, and Oscar-winning actors to inform her life-changing speeches and lectures. She's been voted best speaker at numerous conferences, including the Mastermind Group London and the Women in Business Super Conference, Awesome Fest 2015, and the Royal Society of Medicine. So today it's my absolute pleasure to have Marissa talking about today her brand new book that's just launched, Tell Yourself a Better Lie, with the subtitle, Use the Power of Rapid Transformational Therapy to Edit Your Story and Rewrite Your Life. Marissa, welcome to today's show.
Well, thank you so much for having me on it. I'm thrilled to be here.
Well, it's wonderful for anyone who missed out on our last episode. We were talking about all of your wonderful work, rapid transformational therapy, and anyone who's missed that episode, please come to the masteryourlife.ca website so you can watch that podcast and you can see us on videos. The thing I want to dial into today is why this book. I think it's an incredible book with many chapters in it that are going to be helpful to people. But why this book at this time in your life, Marissa?
I think this is my 7th book, and all my books have been self-help books, how to be confident, how to have your ideal weight, how to take control of your health. But I realized long ago working with clients that our greatest pain is often caused by the lies we tell ourselves. It's not great when your boss says you're rubbish or you're no good, or your partner says, I found someone I like better than you, or your kid says, I hate you, or your mum says you were such a disappointment to me. That's a horrible thing. Mm-hmm. But actually our greatest pain is caused by the lies we tell ourselves. And that's actually very good news, because it's like, wow, if my pain is caused by the lies I tell myself, I don't have to change my mum or my boss or my ex. I just have to change myself. And, we lie to ourselves every day in the most peculiar way. I'm exhausted. I'm just shattered. I'm at the end of my rope. I've got a butt the size of a continent. I'm an out of control pig. I've just eaten nonstop. I'm a train wreck. My kid is making me want to jump under a train. This commute makes me want to die. If you look at these sentences, they can't possibly be true. Nobody wants to jump under a train because their kid is acting what I call age appropriate. Your partner may challenge you, but drive you insane. The commute isn't really killing you. And reality is shaped by the language we use. We think, I'm going to change my weight. Like Bruce Springsteen, I'm going to change my face, my whatever he's singing about in that song. I'm going to change my face, my look, my something. But actually, the only thing you ever have to change is your thinking, the language you use. And when you can change your language, it changes your entire life. So the biggest lie we tell ourselves is I'm not enough. I'm not lovable enough, attractive enough, interesting enough, smart enough, worthy enough. And it's a lie, because you are more than enough. You always have been, and you always will be. And when we can just take a little note of the things we say to ourselves, we'd never speak to our friends We never wake up and go, oh, you look terrible. Oh my God, you look awful. You're just a loser. Look at the state of you. You haven't got anything healthy to have for breakfast. You haven't left enough time to get to work. You're just crazy. You're just a big fat loser. We would never talk to other people the way we talk to ourselves. And realizing how much we lie to ourselves and go, well, if I'm prepared to lie to myself, I could say a better lie. Everything I touch falls apart. I have the Midas touch. I can't find love. I'm magnetically, irresistibly lovable. If I look at a cake, I gain 2 pounds. I have a phenomenal, dependable, incredible metabolic rate. I'm falling apart. I have incredible coping skills. You're already lying. So why not tell yourself a better lie? Because the mind doesn't know, and it really doesn't care if what you tell it is true or false, good or bad, useful or useless. It lets it in. It's a bit like if you have dry skin and you put balm on your skin, your mind doesn't go, is that from Prada or did you get that free on an aeroplane? Balm goes in and soothes dry skin, and words go in and soothe a kind of chapped soul. So we've already established you're telling yourself a lie, which we do every day. And now we're just saying, hey, just tell yourself a better lie. It will change your entire life. It certainly changed mine when I realized that all the unhappiness in my life came from the lies I was telling myself when I really should have known better. I'm not the favorite kid. My mum prefers my sister. My dad prefers my brother. Who's going to want me? I'm a single parent. But actually, the truth is, as a single parent, I found so many people found my daughter utterly enchanting. I was on a plane once, and indeed on a train. And each time that these different guys used my daughter as a way to talk to her, going, oh, your daughter's so cute. She's amazing. She's beautiful, just like her mum. And I began to see that actually having a baby as a single mother was an asset, because here's the thing, I had love. I had someone to love that loved me. I had someone to wake up to and go to bed every night. And I had so much. I thought, wow, I've got all this love. I can have more love. And I'm not like, oh my God, I've got to find someone and have a baby. The clock's ticking. I got the baby. I can wait years now to find the perfect person. So when I reframed the lie, it really changed my life.
Yeah, I love that. I always encourage people to get out a paper and pen so they can write down the things that they learn and are taking away as gems from the podcast. And there's been about whatever a magical number is, let's say 111 magical gems that were just dropped there in that little bit of time. Those being, I think it's like the things that we say it fast to ourselves, and we don't even realize the things that we say to ourselves. So when you capture it, it's quite shocking. And I love the term chapped soul. And so just going, it's like, how much do we chap our own souls as we go along? I had this experience just this morning and I'm pretty conscious of what I write down and what I do. I've worked on this for a very long time, like yourself, and still I find things that crop up that surprise me about myself and go, oh, still need to work on that. And I wrote a note to somebody that didn't follow through on something they said they were going to do by a particular deadline. And I wrote this line out that said, this, like, whatever about the thing, and then this is going to cripple me.
Yeah.
And then I went, hold on, whoa, back up the bus. Yeah. That is not what's happening here, but it's the recognition of what is still in there.
It's like saying I'm chronically tired and going, hang on a minute, am I really chronically tired? I'm certainly tired. I'm probably dehydrated, but it's not chronic. Mm-hmm. Am I really terrified I'm going on a date? Could I say I'm excited? If you're going on a date, going for an assessment at work, going for a job interview, you can decide I'm terrified or excited, because for the mind, it's the same. Right. And so, we give other people so much power to decide how we feel. Do you like me? Am I okay? When actually the most important words you'll ever hear are the words you say to yourself. And just switching our language and thinking, I can find a great lie. And because the mind learns by repetition, saying I'm magnetically lovable I can make that real. I've got a super fast metabolic rate. I have extraordinary, enviable coping skills. I'm really gifted in IT, or I'm an amazing parent intuitively. I'm so good at this. If you keep saying it, it becomes real, especially in a relationship. If you say I'm magnetically lovable, I'm an unforgettable woman or man, if you keep saying it, the person you're with cannot help but pick it up. But if you say, well, I've got fat thighs, I'm supposed to have fat hair and thin thighs, and I seem to have fat thighs and thin hair, therefore I don't count. Yes, you do. It's really important to really monitor our language and change it, because words affect everything.
And you've been doing this a very long time. And so what I was also hopeful about, struck by this book coming out at this time, is really you've noticed that even though you've been teaching this for a long time, people are still struggling with it, this whole concept. So getting it down on paper and offering up the book for people to be able to pick up as a resource tool for themselves was the next gift in your long line of gifts to humanity. So what I want to encourage people to think about is how would this book change your life? How would it help you to actually master your life and find that wellness that is within you, which is what every podcast is about. And so maybe to just dissect the book a little bit more, what is RTT specifically? Why would somebody actually want to look at doing this?
Well, RTT is rapid transformational therapy. And I looked long ago at, going to ER, going to the dentist, going to the chiropractor. My back's out, my tooth hurts. I've seemed to have damaged my leg. And when you go to any practitioner, whether it's a doctor, a dentist, a chiropractor, a massage, they never say, well, we've got to build a lot of trust here, and you need to come back every week, and eventually we'll get to know each other, we'll build some trust, and then we can start to work. No one in ER does that. You go to ER having fallen over. You probably don't even remember the person that fixed you. When I was in New York 4 years ago, went into anaphylactic shock on the street. It was such a shock because I've never had that before. And my sister called an ambulance, and they came, and I think I'd passed out by then. And I don't know who the person was in the ambulance who shoved an EpiPen in my leg. I woke up in a hospital, and it was a funny little hospital, very crowded, and I just went home. But I didn't have to build any trust with that person. I just had to let them fix me. And while I really understand the basis of let's trust each other so you can reveal your innermost secrets and I can help you, therapy is the only model that says, bring me your pain and we'll talk about it for ages. And eventually you might get better. No dentist would stay in business if they did that. No doctor, no chiropractor. And I just think it's a strange model that doesn't really serve the client. So I wanted to create something that served the client. People say, rapid and therapy shouldn't go together. Why? Who said that? And why is that even true? Just because it was written, it doesn't mean it's true. When somebody turns up in pain, a pain because they've broken their leg, or a pain because they can't find love, or a pain because they feel inadequate, it's all pain. And our job should be to get rid of the pain as fast as we possibly can. So I created RTT, and I really based it entirely on the feedback I got from clients. And then I created something called RTT for me. So in the book, it says, we're going through Joanna's story. This is what happened to Joanna. This is the lie she told herself. This is why she was in this mess. And this is what we did. And by the way, if you resonate with Joanna's story, you can actually do this, this, and this. Of course, it's not a replacement for therapy, but it shows you the little things that you can do. One of the things I love the very most about RTT is it's based on very simple techniques that have profound, powerful results. I think its strength is often in its simplicity. Like when I created the I'm Enough movement, that's a simple thing. You say I'm enough. You have little bracelets like mine. You stamp it on your underwear, your pillows. You put it on your fridge. It's very simple, but its effect is profound. And I think a lot of people think therapy is long, complicated, and painful. They don't understand, hey, there's some things that you can do that change your life, becoming a loving parent yourself. I created a lot of unique things, such as installing a cheerleader that whoops and cheers and never goes, oh my God, you look awful. They go, you look great. You're amazing. This has got your name all over it. Last month, 500 schools in the UK simultaneously put installing the cheer into the classroom. They said this is having such a profound effect on kids who are being bullied, who were the bullies, who felt they couldn't do well at school. So it has dialogue with the hurt, or the praise you, or becoming a loving parent to yourself, installing the cheerleader. And it shows you how to use some of the techniques I've been using to great success for my entire adult life, and how you can actually do these at home. It isn't instead of a therapist, but sometimes we go to get, hey, could you please fix me? Here I am, and I'm going to give you my problem and turn up every week. And yet often, if we know how, we can fix ourselves. It's like if a trainer said, hey, you could come to the gym and work out, but I'm going to tell you right now, if you do lunges and the plank and stomach crunches every day, that's all you actually have to do. Do some lunges when you clean your teeth, do the plank, and do some crunches. You think, wow, I don't have to go to the gym. If he shows me how to do that and how to get in the right position so I'm not hurting myself, I can do it at home. And by the way, you need the space of a bath towel to work out on. That's it, the space of an exercise mat. And so we should be saying to people, you can do particular parts of this at home, and it will change your life. And of course, when we listen to someone's story, we're all the same. I picked 10 very diverse stories to allow the reader to find the one that really, of course, there was a man who said, I wasn't my mum's favorite. There was someone who had OCD because she felt unattractive. There was someone who felt she could never find love. There was someone who'd literally become numb and shut down because she lost her baby. There was someone who believed that she needed her mother who was dead. And we systematically removed all of that for each person. But I wrote it in a way that anyone reading it can go, oh, yeah, I can relate to this. I can relate to Jody believing he's not smart. And if I do what Marissa did with him and she's shown me what to do, I can change my life today just by following these simple, profound, powerful techniques.
Yeah, and they are simple and profound and powerful. So I think that for me, again, I feel like a cosmic sister for a couple of decades of just following the work, or because when I was given a diagnosis of something that wasn't curable, I went, that's not for me. So it was just the automatic rewiring happened then. And you use an example in your book. And this was, I was looking it up. So pardon my phone, but I wanted to find it because I think that people do think they need to connect through pain, and that sort of, that triage doesn't necessarily help us in the long run. So in the book, Marissa says, you are what you think. I know for some people, it seems controversial to say that taking control of your thoughts and thinking positively affects your healing from something as serious as cancer, but it really shouldn't be. Every day, there's proof that our thoughts create physical outcomes. If you imagine holding a lemon up to your mouth and taking a big bite out of it, your lips will pucker, your mouth will start to salivate. And so I want people to think about this, because it's so what we've been endeavoring to do is to get people to think about the wellness that lives within themselves, and that there's this migration across the Rubicon of how do you take your old story and create something new, like injecting your EpiPen? It's like, how do you make it happen more quickly for yourself? And so in this toolkit that Marissa has, it's a profound toolkit that you've put together. It's not easy to write out all these stories. It's not easy. It's like, so that whole collecting people's stories and their process is so personal. You also have your heart set towards helping people who are struggling with depression and suicide.
Sure.
So what are all the things that RTT can treat?
Well, let's just go back a minute, because you see, when people say, how can a thought be a thing? If you think of something embarrassing, you blush. If you think of something sexual, you get very aroused. If you think of something emotional, your eyes fill up with tears. And if you think of food, your stomach rumbles. So we know that every day, every thought you think has a physical effect and an emotional response. And the book is showing you Because there's a very classic story about someone who was an alcoholic, and I love his story because I say it once, and I know you think you're broken, but you're not broken. You're a person. You had some broken experiences, but that isn't you. It doesn't define you. He's never had a drink since. There was a girl in there with OCD. I think my favorite was the girl whose babies died and was numb, but also the girl who was absolutely suicidal. I mean, we changed all their names to protect them, although they were very happy for us not to. But the girl who was suicidal, who just said overnight, it all lifted, everything changed. I realized that all my life I had to be good, because her story was that when her mother was carrying, her mother was very depressed. She had an existing child who was awake all night and made her feel that she couldn't cope, and she didn't want another baby. She spent all that pregnancy crying. And when her baby was born, she would say to her, your brother nearly killed me. He's the devil. But you're an angel. You're a good sleeper. You're a good girl. And she realized very quickly that she had to become that label. When you label a child, you're the smart one. You're the good one. You're the well-behaved one. And the child must become that label. So she became good. And she said at one stage in the book, if being good makes me want to kill myself, because I'd said to her, I think it's time for you to be bad. I want you to be naughty, bad, and wild. And she said, you're right, because being good makes me want to kill myself. And maybe I have to stop being good. The pressure to be the perfect wife, the perfect mother, the perfect friend, there's no such thing. And so what she thought was a good thing, being good, actually was making her want to die. And it's so tragic when clients come in and tell you their story, and we have to say, look, this is your mother's story. Your mother needed a good baby, but that's not your story. And we don't get the baby we want, we get the baby we're given. I'm very tidy and organized. My daughter's an artist. Messy people, they don't even see mess. You can't go, look at the mess in here. They go, what mess? I like it like this. I like my paintings, and my clothes live on the floor, not the wardrobe. And the story can be, this is, how have I created your child like this? But actually that child is your teacher. You're not supposed to give birth to yourself or indeed date yourself. And I think it's so important to look at our story and think, we play the only part we've ever known, the good girl, the wild kid, the rebel, the one who's desperate for attention, until we make that part our own. And at any time I forget, you know what? You're going to have a new script now. I'm totally bored with playing this part. It's time to edit your story, rewrite your life, and change your future. Your mom didn't want you. Is that your story? But somebody wanted you. You're here against all the odds. Many people who are longing for a baby don't carry that baby to full term and end up without a child. And I know people who would be amazing parents who never got that chance. But here you are, your parents didn't want you. Somebody wanted you. And by the way, you were meant to be a girl, even if the eighth were meant to be a boy, meant to be you. And we have to look at how much pain we cause our story. My dad left when I was 1. I'm not lovable. I was given up for adoption. I'm not wanted. The truth may be that your mother wanted you so much and loved you. So the only thing she could give you was a better family. And I see that all the time with adoption. People give their children away and it breaks their heart. But the child thinks, but if you really loved me, you would have stayed. How can you love me if you left me? How could my dad love me if he went off and had a new family? But your dad, your mom have their own issues. We don't know what people are going through. And it's so easy to take it personally when nobody can reject you ever unless you give them your consent, which you are free to never give them ever. People say to me, my boyfriend left and he doesn't love you. I go, look, when he packed his bag, he didn't put in everything he loved about you. When he used to ring you, go, my God, you're the best, you're the one. I ring your phone just to hear your voice. I just love being in your presence. You're the most amazing. I can't get you out of my head. Well, when it goes wrong, he hasn't packed that up and taken it with him. Everything he loved in you is still in you, and someone else will love you for those characters and more. And often a relationship just runs its course. It's not that there's anything wrong with you or indeed them, you grow out of people all the time. It's like, I have friends I've grown out of. They're lovely people, but you don't have anything in common. Often, when you have a baby and your friend doesn't, and they're still partying and you're at home peeling broccoli, you think, oh, they don't want me anymore. But you're just at a different phase in your life. And we really got to stop beating ourselves up, because I'm a flawed person, so are you. And the best we can ever have is a flawed relationship together, but trying to be perfect, trying to please others, believing that love has to be bought or earned or chased or worked for is wrong. It's just there to give and receive.
I love this, the flawed. We're both flawed people coming into this together. And even in our children, when they see us, or, if we've been taught to try to be perfect parents, and the children are going, well, why aren't you that perfect parent? You go, sorry, sweetheart, I'm just as flawed as anyone else, or I'm just as perfect as well. So these are really wise words that we can say to ourselves and to the people who are in our lives, like just to chill out and kind of look at all the beautiful things that exist about you. And then that really working on that story and that scripting to rewrite the conversation with ourselves. What do you think is sort of the outcome right now, Marissa, for people over the last several years that have been involved in just their electronics in terms of how they feel about themselves? Are you seeing any sort of themes that people are having to work through?
I think, I look at my daughter's generation, the generation after her, and that whole generation, they don't even make phone calls. I don't, my daughter doesn't, they text people and they text them back, and they never leave messages on the phone. And they seem to have lived in a world without a voice. And it's so bizarre that people say, yeah, I'm dating someone online. We've never met. I've been dating for 2 years.
What?
Or parents who say, I read my kid a bedtime story through Zoom, and it's just as good,
Mm-hmm.
I have quality time with my kids at 5:00 every night on Zoom. That's not quality time. Quality time is when someone is in the room and you can hold them and touch them and be with them. And I think we've got a generation now who've got all these Facebook friends, all these Insta friends, all these likes. But when you're having a bad day and you've got a cold, they're not turning up with soup or cake. They're not turning up with a movie going, hey, let me hang out with you, because they're all friends on social media. And it's not real. And then we have these awful sites where you can put yourself up for assessment. People say, oh, you're a 2, you're a 3, you're a 1. Oh, I thought I was an 8. And we've given someone else the power to diminish us. It used to be when you were a kid and you were bullied, that was horrible. But at 4:00, it ended until 9:00 the next morning. So
that's right. Mm-hmm.
All 12 hours more actually of being away. And now, because of the media, you can be bullied in your bedroom 24 hours. And there's a lot of good things about it. My mum could speak to all her grandchildren on Zoom, and she just loved that. But I think we've gone to a world where, in Japan, you can rent a robot to keep you company. You can rent a robot to walk your dog. I don't think dogs want to be walked by a robot. You can have security that is a robot. We've created a world where people are just being replaced by machines. And it's a horrible, horrible thing. We're doing so much damage. So many girls are anorexic and bulimia and body dysmorphic, and men too, because we now think magazines are real and sitcoms are real, and having a fake everything, fake eyelashes, fake nails, fake hair, fake breasts is real. And we don't even know what reality is anymore. It's very weird. I know my daughter's generation, they don't even know what pubic hair is because they get rid of it all. And then when they see it, they think it's disgusting and horrible. And I think it's a great shame that we've gone so far into we're overexposed to fake images of perfection to such an extent that we think we're imperfect when the images are imperfect because they're not even real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very sage insight and oversight of this current situation. And I think part of what there's another project that you're working on, which is a relationship project. And I know we're talking about your book today primarily, which is the Tell Yourself a Better Lie. Relationships, though, thread into this so deeply, and you can't get away from it. So the lie we tell ourselves that we can't talk to other people, that other people are scary, that death is scary, that we don't die. Like there's this whole underlying fear of living that really is stopping us from taking natural risks in the world, going outside of our own homes, having relationships, smiling at people and expecting a good response from people. And the only way we can shore ourselves up with the courage to do these things with real people off of screen is to go out and do them. And even that carries a risk with it right now because of the current laws, depending on what land you're living in, how, if there's consequences to that. So we've got these sort of multi-layered reasons to stay in that land of not feeling too good about ourselves and feeling not enough, where it's even more important than ever to have good tools, resources, equipment, and constant reminders that we are enough no matter what else the external forces are that's saying that we are not enough. So I guess I want to encourage people to pick up your book and to think about how they can apply it in their lives, and that it would be a great Christmas gift for a lot of people to actually receive it and to do it even maybe as a book study. Have you ever tried doing it that way, where people are actually, maybe not a book study, but a reader's group, where people are reading it together and kind of getting nuggets out of it?
Yeah, we're doing something called Lie with Marissa. I'm having a podcast where every week somebody will come on and tell me about the lie they've been living. And here's the big lie in relationships. I need to be perfect to find love. I got to have something snipped off or injected. Someone's got to be taken away. I've got to lose weight, get rid of the wrinkles, get my hair done, have a six-pack, pretend I got a better life. So the lie for a relationship is to find love, I've got to be perfect. And that's not true, because the basis of all friendship and indeed relationships is we choose people who share our vulnerability. So what do you think happens when you pretend you haven't got any? You're going to be alone. People who pretend to be perfect are the unhappiest, but they're also the loneliest. And so you've got to look at that lie. Perfect people don't find love. Imperfect people go, you know what I love about you the most is your wonky smile. I love the little fat tummy. I love your little, like my husband loses stuff all the time, and he has all this lost boy look. It's like, oh my God, and don't worry, I'll find it for you. But I find it very endearing, and he always likes that because I never get angry that he loses. I'm very good at finding stuff. He loses it. We're actually a very good team. The lie that you have to be perfect, you've got to go to the gym, update your wardrobe, update your look, pretend you're something amazing to convince someone to love you. It's often when you're your most vulnerable that you find love. I remember my mother many years ago tried to commit suicide, and her neighbor turned up while she was in hospital on a catheter saying, I've been in love with you for years. And let me know. And she was so shocked that, because my mother was a very beautiful, effervescent woman, but at her weakest, at her most unattractive, most vulnerable, in came this person. She actually married him, and they were together until he died because he professed love for her. When she was lying in bed without her makeup, with matted hair, with mascara streaked down her cheeks, hooked up to a catheter. And he told her he just loved her and wanted to be with her. And I love that story, because he didn't love her when she was in her most beautiful dress with her hair done, saying, look at me, aren't I gorgeous? He loved her when she was vulnerable. Yeah. And so we got to stop this lie. Don't look at magazines. Don't look at that. One of my friends said, he said, when I met my wife, he said she was walking in through a store, her thighs were rubbing together, and I saw her steal a candy bar. I thought, that's the girl for me. I love the thighs were so sexy. And the fact that she could actually lift this candy bar and put it in her bag. I loved her in sequence. And I thought, isn't that great? You wouldn't expect it. And when I said to her, I saw that, she just laughed and went, shh. And he said, I knew then that she was the one, and they're still together now. So, the things that make people love us are not what we think. It's like when you have a baby, you love their triple knees, you love their gummy smile, you love the fact that every time they try to say mouse, they say mices. It's so endearing, and it doesn't change that. It's your vulnerabilities, your imperfections actually make you far more perfect. And I've met many models who say, I can't find a guy because my perfection puts them off. They don't like it. They feel intimidated. They want somebody real and flawed like them, and I don't appear to have any flaws. And that's why you can look at someone like Marilyn Monroe, or even Princess Diana, that were always alone, even though they appear to be the most beautiful thing on the planet.
Yeah. I think the other thing with social media is that on that relationship thing, people that I've heard of clients say that their belief is that they have to have the perfect partner because what are other people going to think? It's like
perfect partner, perfect house, perfect kids. And yet that doesn't, you must say, oh, look, come to my house. It's perfect. Look, it's perfect. It's a show house. You think, oh, no. I like it because sometimes I go, yeah, the cat's just been sick and there's a coffee. So, but I've got 4 kids and 3 cats. And I had a particular friend who lived, I have to say, she lived in absolute chaos. And yet I loved staying with her, even though it was completely chaotic. That was part of its charm. But she said, I have so much respect for my kids. They didn't really have boundaries, but they were very interesting parents. But they have raised the most amazing kids because they have, I have so much respect for my children. I never impose my will onto them. And, your kids don't remember that you bought them organic broccoli. They don't remember that the house was immaculate. They don't remember they had clean press sheets every week. They remember, did they feel loved? I mean, my parents literally had a house with a white picket fence. And my grandmother had a house, amazingly, with an outside toilet. And yet I loved being there. I thought I had died and gone to heaven when I got to stay with her. I slept on the sofa. She didn't have money. She was chubby. Her arms were like the best place in the world to be. She wasn't fashionable like my mother, beautiful. But to me, she was just so much love oozed out of her pores. And I loved being in her house. I always wanted to live with her in that funny little apartment with an outside bathroom rather than my parents' beautiful, straight out of a magazine house, because that house was sterile.
Yeah.
That house was full of love. And, we're so busy trying to have perfect homes, perfect bodies, perfect cars, perfect kids, perfect social media, and we forget that what people love is real. And, I've trained now 11,000 therapists, and some of them get a perfect office and others work. I remember years ago when I had a perfect office in the medical centre of London, and then I had a baby, and I thought, I don't want to do this commute anymore. And I worked from home because I love coming to your home. It's so real. I so much prefer coming here because I feel comfortable. I'm sitting in your front room. And you would have thought they would have liked it less. They liked it more because it felt more real. It's like tonight, someone said, let's go out for dinner, or do you want to come to our house? I much prefer to come to your house. Going to someone's house for dinner is so much better than going to a fancy restaurant because it's real. It's warm. There's no huge music. Last year, we were in lockdown in London. My daughter and her fiance made a New Year's dinner for me and my husband. It was the best New Year's Eve I've ever had. I've been to 5-star events, red carpet events, black tie events. But just going to her house and having them cook, and we played cards, and it was actually perfect because it was so simple and real, and I knew how much she loved me, that they wanted to do that, and they knew how much I loved them, that we wanted to spend our new year with them. I think we've got so far away from what matters. Things don't matter. Shoes and candles and bags and cushions and cars don't matter. It's your relationship with other people that gives you ultimate joy. And yet we're now creating tellers in the bank with no people. We have checkouts in the store with no people. Soon we'll have driverless cars with no people. And we're moving so far away from human relationships. You can get in an Uber, never speak. Go to the bank, never speak. Go and get your groceries and never speak to a soul. And I don't know how we think that's a good thing. It's a terrible thing that our relationships with people are what makes us thrive. And yet we're systematically removing that. It's so bizarre.
Yeah, it's shocking and scalding to the soul. Shocking and scalding to the soul. We're meant to.
Therapist is so great. I've trained so many, and they'll say, I love being, I get to talk to someone, connect to them, change their life. And it's like that song by Barry White, I just want someone to talk to. I want you just the way you are. We'll go, oh, I want someone to sing that to me. Well, try singing it to yourself then. So what the quality someone is looking for in a person are warmth, kindness, being genuine, being interesting. They don't really care about the size of your thighs or your waist and is your shirt Gucci or did you get it in Target. It doesn't matter. They want to know, are you interesting? Have you got a good heart? Are you warm? Warmth and kindness is so underrated as a necessity in a relationship. My husband is incredibly kind, and
yes,
that's really got us through some tough times. I mean, kindness. I'm so glad I married a kind person because that really helps you go the distance. And kindness is the opposite of selfish. You know, when one of my friends said, you know, my husband's in the Marines, if I say I've got a period pain, he goes, suck it up. My men are getting their arms blown off here. What are you talking about? And he's not a bad guy, but he doesn't understand empathy. The kids have had a bad day. I've been out training people or going down to Afghanistan. What are you even talking about? And so they can't relate to each other.
Yeah, that's a huge disconnect. I was just, the whole empathy disconnect. My parents have been married for many years, almost 60 years. And I said to Mom recently, what is it that attracted the two of you together? And she had dated somebody that wasn't that awesome a person. And then she said, when I met your dad, it was like I looked at him and went, he is good through and through.
Yeah.
He is. So when I described him to my mom, I said, John is good through and through. And that's just carried them for their,
people say, I want to marry somebody wealthy, really rich. And they forget that not all, but some rich people have become rich by being ruthless.
Yes.
And so you've married someone who's been ruthless and they're ruthless with you, or they're a workaholic. That's how they're so wealthy. They work all the time. You go on holiday on the phone all the time. And then you think, oh, I'm now a only rich woman.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry.
And it's okay. I'm now married to this rich person, but I'm lonely. That's not what I wanted at all. I'm living in a couple of months ago, we went to an event in San Diego and my husband rented this penthouse apartment. John rented this penthouse thinking I'd love it. And I said, you know what? I really like it up here. I'm up on the top of the world. When I shut the door, there's no one here. I really like being on the ground floor. I want to open the door, walk out, walk onto the beach, walk out and see people. Excuse me. Penthouse living is not my thing. I like my feet around, and I like to be around people.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that. I've lived in several communities. People who followed the podcast for the last 6 years are always laughing about what vehicle I'm doing the episode from. So it's like just moving around to kind of meet the needs of folks where they are and to take care of family members, et cetera, et cetera. But I'd much rather be with the people. And it keeps you real. And then to your point, some people that you pick along the way are ruthless. But then it makes us question, why do we choose people like that? Do we have blind spots? And how do we actually show?
Looking for the wrong qualities. Again, we've forgotten to say, has this person got a good heart? Are they? Can I spend when I'm sick, will they be there to hold my hand? If you've always got to be switched on. I just must get some water actually, so I'm about to cough again.
Absolutely. I'll just pause this.
Go up. I think if you've always got to show up as your perfect self, then that's another fake relationship.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. And so how do we use, we've got about 4 minutes left. So let's just talk about how people can use the book and then any other things that you would like to share, because I know, I believe and have seen that you're working really hard on bringing forward this relationship program as well. And I think both of the efforts are really important. So what else can people take away from the book, and what else are you up to?
Well, something I found as a therapist is what I call the presenting problem. Here's a client going, hey, this is my problem. I can't stop eating. I'm binging. I'm self-sabotaging. And the presenting problem was often not the problem. The problem was I don't feel lovable. I don't feel enough. I don't feel worthy. And I think what the book does very well invites you to look at your problem, and then it does what I call it shows you what lies. Well, what's it really about? The problem you think, if I could just lose weight, I'd find love. If I could just get off the couch, I'd be successful. But really, you're keeping the weight and you're lying on the couch to avoid what the unspeakable truth, I'm not enough. And therefore, I can always go, well, I coulda, woulda, shoulda. I could have had love. I could have had my own business. But the problem is, I had this weight, I had this procrastination, but the real problem is you have created that to avoid the unspeakable truth that you are not lovable enough just the way you are. So when you can peel back the presenting problem and find what lies beneath, it's really only ever three things. I'm not enough. I'm different, so I can't connect. What I want isn't available to me. And I found in 30 plus years, that was everyone's problem, of a variety of it. And fixing that, so we don't fix just the presenting problem. I need to lose weight. I need to get myself together. I need to market my business. I need to get over my shyness. I need to become confident. We don't just fix that. We fix what lies beneath it too. And that way it never comes back in another format. When you can find out what's really going on and fix that, it is such a game changer.
Yeah. And so with that toolkit in the book, you're also inviting people to register and become therapists, because you've realized, I think, at some level that you, beautiful Marissa Peer, cannot be available to everybody. You can be sort of available.
I've got 11,000 people now all over the world doing RTT. They were hairdressers, they were law enforcement officers, they were flight attendants, they were single parents. Most of our best therapists didn't come in with any kind of background or experience in therapy, but the training is very thorough. And they all say, this is the best job in the world, because we all have the same needs. We need connection. We need to feel significant. We need certainty, diversity. We need to feel that our life has meaning and purpose. We need to feel that we're growing, contributing, and making a difference. And there are very few careers, very few that meet all of those needs. But as a therapist, you grow. You grow as a person, helping others grow. You contribute massively. If you want to change the world, then change people. One soul at a time. That's how you change the world. You get to make a huge difference. Somewhere is sleeping better at night because of what you can do. You have a kid that isn't being bullied, a bully that isn't being the bully, someone who found love, lost half their body weight, stopped drinking, got over their fear of heights or spiders. So then you have significance and connection and certainty that your job is amazing. You'll never be replaced by a robot, by the way. And you have diversity. Every day is different. I've been doing this for 34 years, and I can't imagine ever retiring, because I love it as much today as the day I started. It's one of those rare jobs where you give a lot, but you get just as much back. I would say every client I've worked with has given me every bit as much as I gave them. And I'm so lucky because I do what I love, and I love what I do. And many therapists, especially RTT, they would say the same thing. Like Tony Robbins says, I love what I do. I'm not retiring. Louise Hay, Wayne Dyer would have said the same thing. I do what I love, and I love what I do. When you can find what you love and then you share it, you always have meaning. And you always have purpose. And it must be so hard to live a life without purpose. But if you want purpose, you want meaning, come and train with us. We'll train you in the best job in the world. You can do it live. You can do it online. And we've got retired people doing it, single parents doing it, so many people who say, wow, this is what I've been looking for my entire life.
It's beautiful. So it can be a new chapter maybe for you in your life, people who are listening in. So we're out of time for today. I want to just thank you so much, Marissa, for being such a beautiful, shining light in this world. Everyone, please love yourselves, love each other, mind your minds. And if you want to know more about Marissa's work, come to the masteryourlife.ca website where you can access everything wonderful that she is doing. Love you all. Have a great week. Bye for now.
Thank you for being a part of our program today. Master Your Life is a presentation of Leaha Mattinson Enterprises, Inc. Join us next time on Master Your Life, helping you to discover the very best of you.